What if that person you can't stand being around, that person you find no good qualities in, was tied to you by a rope for one day? No way in hell, you're probably thinking. Well, if you suffer from depression, that dreaded person is tied to you forever. That person is yourself. This is the very sad but very true reality of depression. Depression is a common and debilitating mental illness affecting an estimated 350 million people around the world. Although currently available antidepressants are generally effective in treating depression, it can take several weeks before patients feel the full therapeutic benefits. And despite the efficacy of standard treatments such as SSRI, MAUI, and TCAs, approximately one-third of patients still fail to respond to pharmacotherapy. These non-responders are said to have treatment-resistant depression, where at least two antidepressants were tried but proved to be ineffective. This is where the new FDA-approved drug esketamine, or its trade name Spravato, comes in. Released in the US in March 2019, esketamine, as the name suggests, is simply the S-enantiomer of the anesthetic drug ketamine, which incidentally can also be used as a recreational substance. Spravato is administered in a clinical setting as an intranasal spray and can induce rapid onset and long-lasting therapeutic effects. Some studies have even shown that within 40 to 100 minutes, patients already start to feel better and experience remission from their depressive symptoms. So could this be the new wonder drug since Prozac? Only time will tell, especially given its abuse and addiction potential, as well as its dose-dependent side effects, which can be classified as either dissociative, psychotomimetic, or hemodynamic in nature. Pharmacologically, ketamine promotes central sympathetic outflow, causing stimulation of the heart, thereby increasing blood pressure and cardiac output. Meanwhile, cerebral blood flow also becomes elevated, which is why some people experience hallucinations. Therefore, esketamine should be used with caution as it is also contraindicated in hypertensive and stroke patients. Despite these potential adverse reactions, it is eskedamine's brand new mechanism of action that sets it apart from other drugs on the market, opening up a Pandora's box for the next generation of antidepressants. Mechanistically, ketamine exerts its antidepressant effects via the glutamatergic pathway, which is unlike old school drugs that act mainly on the serotonergic system. Our good friend ketamine blocks the activity of the NMDA receptor, which is both a calcium ion channel and a glutamate receptor found in postsynaptic nerve cells. It does this by acting as a non-competitive antagonist binding to the allosteric site of the protein, which means that the NMDA receptor is inactivated indirectly by ketamine. Despite our body's main excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate continually being released by presynaptic neurons, it will just sit there in its binding site doing nothing because ketamine has made the whole receptor inactive. This then inhibits key signaling processes triggered by the NMDA receptor, which in turn is said to be the cause of ketamine's ability to alleviate the symptoms of depression. However, this hypothesis has been challenged by recent in vivo studies claiming that a ketamine metabolite called hydroxynorketamine, or HNK, may also be responsible for antidepressant activity. Evidence shows that the R enantiomer of HNK interacts with another receptor protein called AMPAR to enhance neural activity, although it remains unclear how the antidepressant effects are produced via this mechanism. While ketamine's antidepressant properties has been widely studied for almost 20 years, especially when administered intravenously, the first randomized controlled trial examining intranasal ketamine did not occur until 2014. Patients were either given 50 milligrams of intranasal ketamine or a placebo for a period of 2 days. The study found that within as little as 40 minutes, there was already a significant improvement in those receiving ketamine treatment compared to the control group, as shown in the following graph. This sustained improvement lasted up to 24 to 72 hours, and more importantly, the drug was well tolerated with only minimal adverse effects felt by the participants. Such rapid and robust reduction in depressive symptoms is the reason why esketamine is being heralded as a potential game changer in the fight against severe depression. However, there are no current plans by the pharmaceutical company Janssen to release its product Spravato in Australia. In the meantime, MAUI and TCAs are still considered first-line therapy for treatment-resistant depression, despite their many side effects, some of which may be life-threatening. Consequently, some clinicians have been encouraged by the growing body of evidence to administer ketamine in its original form as an off-label treatment. Apart from esketamine's clinical implications, its broader social impact must also be considered. With an estimated cost of $625 per treatment, access to this type of therapy will be limited to those on high incomes only, at least in the beginning. And finally, as with any newly developed drug, Phase 4 clinical trials must be conducted on a larger and more diverse number of patients to determine long-term efficacy and tolerability. Nevertheless, the future seems brighter for those afflicted by treatment-resistant depression thanks to esketamine.